One of the biggest dark sides of being a handsome or attractive man is the hate that you are going to get from other men, the distrust, the hate, the passive aggressive behavior that you'll experience from other guys. If you're a guy that wants to improve your looks, or if you're a guy that has improved your looks, and if you're on looks maxing or going to the gym, I'm sorry to say it, fellas, but you are going to notice a big change in the demeanor of the men around you. Now, the men that are performing well, the men that have their life together, the men that are happy with their lives, that are not insecure, are actually going to compliment you. They will support you. They will actually be nice to you. But most of society's average men, the men that are basically fat, unattractive, bad style, bad with women, you're going to notice very passive aggressive behavior from these guys. Now, why does this happen? Well, before I go into that, I want to tell you a story about one of my friends that's really good with women and a lot of the hate that he has gotten over the years. So I have a friend, I'm just going to call him Caden, okay? Caden is a tall, blonde, attractive guy, very good looking, always has been. And throughout our lives, I went to school with this guy. Caden, he never had trouble with women. He always had girlfriends. He always had girls that wanted to talk to him. And it was obvious, this guy was a tall, attractive guy. He looked like a Viking, basically, like a handsome Viking. Well, something that would always happen to my buddy Caden was that some of the people in the group, in our friend group, would end up talking shit about him, would spread rumors about him. Like, I'm talking some, teenage girl type shit, literally spreading rumors, slandering his name. And I remember there was a guy in our group named Andy. And Andy was not a very good looking guy, did not have good luck with women. And he always acted like a bro in front of my friend Caden, right? Well, come to find out, he got outed by one of our friends in the group about his shit talking. Turns out this guy, Andy, was talking shit about Caden a lot. He was basically saying, oh, why do girls pick him? He's an asshole. Why do, he's a piece of shit. Why do women always choose him? And this is the kind of mentality, obviously Caden didn't care. They weren't really that close, but they were in the same friend group and kind of in the same social circle. So Andy ended up, he's not in the friend group anymore. I'm still friends with Caden. But this wasn't the only incident. There was a couple other times where there was really guys that had trouble with girls or very unattractive that actually, and my buddy Caden, he's like one of the nicest guys like I've ever known. Like, this guy is super nice, super friendly. He's a real bro. But you could be, if you're like a good looking guy, you're good with girls, you're charismatic, you're funny, you could do everything right. You could be super nice, super humble, try not to bring attention to yourself. And these loser kind of characters are still gonna go out there and slander your name, talk shit about you, act standoffish in public. These guys will not trust you around their girlfriend. These guys will act, basically it's insecurity is the word I'm looking for. You being attractive, you being on your mission, you being on self-improvement is going to make other men very uncomfortable. Because when you start rising, when you get on self-improvement, when you enter the top 10% of men, when you start becoming a Chad, when you become very attractive, and trust me, not everyone's born good looking. I had to work for these looks, guys. So I used to be ugly. I used to be unattractive. So I had to work for this shit. It is possible. If you are a guy that's not that good looking, trust me, having a good diet, exercising, taking care of your skin, taking care of your style, knowing what kind of haircut to use with your face shape makes a world of difference, okay? And of course, I know you have to accept your flaws, right? Maybe you're not the tallest guy. Maybe you're not the richest guy. Maybe you're someone that just has a disability or something. That doesn't matter, because you're going to be better off improving what you have and just working with what you have than going down the black pill route. The black pill route is going to lead you to less success, actually, overall. So don't become a black pillar. Don't give up. I'm telling you, but you pulling yourself out the hole, you becoming an attractive, handsome man, it takes effort, it takes time, it takes research, it takes all sorts of stuff. It's not gonna happen overnight. And I'll just be straight with you, it could take a year to a couple years before you start seeing major benefits. So that's some of the cons of being attractive is, yeah, getting hate from men. And also women too, unattractive women. You would be surprised. You would think being an attractive guy would have you actually getting a lot more respect from unattractive women, right? Oh, this girl is a 4 out of 10 and you're a 9 out of 10. So technically she should be chasing you, or she should be trying to go after you, or respecting you, or acting super friendly with you. In reality, it's actually the opposite, guys. So the same thing happens when you run into unattractive women. If you're a man, and typically, you know, women are more attractive than men on average, let's be real. You know, the average man is not very good looking or very pleasing to the eye. Usually men have other attributes that make them attractive, like money, status, power, that kind of thing. But in terms of looks is like a women's game 90% of the time. You know, most women are solely relying on looks to advance themselves socially. So when somewhat unattractive woman or substandard woman, you know, you're in an interaction with her where the man himself has a better face than her, has a better physique than her, when the man is actually conventionally more attractive than the woman, right? Basically, not only are you a man if you're successful, but you're beating her at her own game. This makes them extremely uncomfortable and insecure, because, you know, here's a woman that prides beauty above everything else. They use their looks, they use their womanly charm, and then here comes a guy, you know, just a random guy coming and basically mogging on them. A guy just mogging on some random woman. So basically it's one of those things where, like, yeah, the same thing, she will get uncomfortable. She will actually act like she's not attracted to you, even if she's attracted to you. You know, I saw this video recently where there was these pretty unattractive women rating guys' faces out in the street, and some of these guys were literally like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, like super handsome fucking guys. And the interviewer would ask them to rate these men, and a lot of these women would say, oh, he's a 2. And, you know, these girls aren't even that attractive, and like, oh yeah, he's a 2, he's just not my type. This is like a common thing that's kind of well known in the looks maxing community, or like dating community. You see, a lot of these average or sub-average women will actually end up going for average men. They will not want to go for the handsome, attractive, successful man for a specific reason, because they don't want the competition that comes with that. They want it the easy mode. You see, a girl that's not that attractive trying to compete, you know, for a very attractive man, she knows that this guy has other like options with women, right? She knows that this guy is not going to put up with her shit. She knows that this guy has more power in the relationship over her, right? The guy has more power. The guy has more control, because he can easily find another option, right? Whereas she, you know, a woman can find a man like that, but to find a man of that caliber is not going to be easy. And this is kind of another rule, is that if you're an attractive guy, if you're a good looking guy, if you're a guy that takes care of himself, that eats well, diets, you know, you go to the gym, you looks max, you care about your appearance, you will realize that attractive men are rare. They really are. They're rare. And it's because most men let themselves go. Most men don't look max. Most men don't go to the gym. Most men don't exercise. Most men basically scrape by. Most men essentially are just floating through life. They are just running on autopilot. Looks is just something that is not their top priority, you know. So being an attractive man, I want you to be honest. Go out in public. Go out to a public place. People are always talking about these, like, oh, you know, women want chads, they only want chads. Oh, she only wants to get with a chad. Guys, I want you to go out in public one of these days and count how many chads you see. To see a chad in public is not a common sighting. They're not everywhere. If you go out in public, there's pretty girls everywhere. There's attractive women everywhere. Attractive women are not rare. You can go anywhere in the world, any town, any city, and there's going to be pretty girls. There's going to be attractive girls. But for men, this is not the case. An attractive man is more rare than an attractive woman. So if you were an attractive, you know, men, you know, in the dating scene, you've seen like the Tinder stats and shit, how most men get like fucking pushed to the side and shit. The reality is that attractive men are just a rare sighting. They're a rare occurrence. They're talked about like they're these guys that are everywhere. They're stealing people's girlfriends, that are ruining relationships, that they're hogging all the women. When in reality, most attractive guys are just, they're just not on every fucking corner like you would think. And this is a good thing if you are an attractive guy, by the way, because it sets you apart. If every guy was like a hot guy, if every guy was like a fucking chad, there would be no chads. You would just be normal, okay? If every man's a chad, nobody's a chad, right? A chad or a chad light or whatever, high tier normie, is only possible if the rest of the population is like basically a subhuman. So that's how people are going to treat you. Some people are going to treat you better. A lot of people are going to treat you worse. The halo effect is real. The people that do not get uncomfortable or insecure around attractive people are going to give you respect. Life is going to be easier for you. It's going to be easier for you to get a girlfriend, get girls, of course. I'm not going to say that there's no benefits to being good looking. There definitely is, but like everything in life, there is pros and there is cons. And a lot of people that aren't attractive are jealous as well. They're jealous. They hate you because they ain't you. It's like a rich person and a poor person, right? A lot of poor people hate rich people. That poor person secretly deep in their heart wishes that they were a rich person. But until they're rich, they're going to hate on that rich person. That's like the same thing. That's like the same thing I'm explaining here, basically, is that an unattractive person is going to secretly hate you in the bottom of their heart a lot of the time because they're jealous. They wish, you know, if you have a six-pack, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to just not like you because you have a six-pack. They're going to think that you're some fucking using steroids or some shit, or they're going to say roid rage, or he's compensating for something, you know, little fucking offhand remarks and stuff. Oh, dad bods are better. But secretly down in their heart, if they could, let's be real, guys. If you could wave a fucking magic wand and have a six-pack, you would do it. Anyone would fucking do it. That's like, if you could wave a magic wand and $10 million like landed in your bank account tomorrow, 99% of people would wave that fucking magic wand. They would do it. They wouldn't say, oh, I don't want the money, I don't need it. No, come on, guys. People will say that they don't want the money, that they don't need the money, but when the opportunity is presented to them, they'll do it because they know it'll change their life for the better. So like I said, if you have someone doesn't have, that goes for anything in life. I'm talking money, I'm talking looks, status. A lot of people that are in positions of power get hated on because they're in a position of power. You know, people that are politicians and whatnot, and we're not going to get into politics on this channel ever, but you know what I mean. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be some shit talkers. There's always going to be people that are going to try to knock you down a peg, right? You know, it's like that age-old saying of that a good-looking guy is like stupid, right? Like, oh, that if you're basically like an attractive man, that you're like a fucking, like a jarhead or something, or you're a dumbass. You know, he's a fucking jock, right? Jock is this guy that, oh, he has no brains, you know, all his energy just went to his muscles. You know, the nerdy guy, you know, oh, this guy that's not that attractive, he's the smart guy. You know, he's the one who's gonna cure cancer. He's the one that's gonna fucking change the world, right? So that's my talk for today. Hope you got something from that video. Leave a comment, leave a like, tell me about your experience, and later.